What's going on, folks? Rich here for RageWorks. Super excited for this review. Super excited for Mondo's 1/6 version of Lion-O, Lord of the ThunderCats. As a recent convert to collecting Mondo figures, I was very excited for all of the great figures that they've done for Masters of the Universe. When they got the ThunderCats license, I was equally as excited because the scale and just the work that Mondo puts into their figures would really go well with the ThunderCats license, and this Lion-O is a prime example of that. Can't wait to get him out of the box and show him to you guys, but first, definitely want to show you Mondo, as usual, kick-ass job with the packaging, beautiful picture of Lion-O right on the front, letting you know what you're going to get. You're also going to get a little bit of branding, and you're going to get some background on Lion-O. So if your ThunderCats history is a little fuzzy, this box will definitely help you get up to speed. Lion-O, of course, Lord of the ThunderCats, left his planet with some of his fellow ThunderCats. They settled on Third Earth. Lion-O went through the trials, became Lord of the ThunderCats. Obviously, that's the short version of it, but you get some of that here on the box. But now, let's look at what else you get. Beautiful open box, windowed packaging. You see Lion-O here with all of the accessories, which they spared no expense because this, which is usually the case with Mondo, is a timed exclusive. And this is one of the things that I tell people when they're getting into Mondo figures. First thing you're going to look at is the price. And the price is always going to be something that's going to definitely ruffle some feathers because you're paying over 200 bucks. But the thing about it is, if you're getting a timed release version of any of these characters, you're getting tons of accessories and tons of little bonuses as well, offering you pretty much unlimited possibilities in terms of posing and just showcasing the figure. It's no different than buying a hot toy for $300+. It just happens to be that this hot toy is from one of my favorite properties growing up. Enough about that. Let's crack this box open and get a good look at Lion-O, Lord of the ThunderCats. We're going to go through all of the awesome stuff that's included in this packaging for Lion-O. You're going to get 4 different heads on the time release. You're going to have an angry head. Then you're going to get at rest. Just a regular Lion-O head. The head he currently has on is Sight Beyond Sight when he's using the Sword of Omens. Then you're going to have King Lion-O with the crown, which he wore, I believe, right after being anointed as Lord of the ThunderCats. Great textures on the hair. Then you have this one, which is a little different, more animal-based, more feral looking, like real humanoid cat-ish. Now let's talk about very awesome accessories, like the claw shield, which is very cool. You have your opening there to put the Sword of Omens. You also have the hook to hang it on Lion-O. And then we have a more natural paw-like claw shield. Same thing, you got the strap and the opening for the Sword of Omens. Great textures. They did a really good job with the fur on this. Then a couple of other accessories. Some you may know, some you don't. This is the Book of Omens, which has been used in ThunderCats lore quite a bit. Can't open it though, it is locked. But they did a good job with the details. This is a very smooth jewel-like finish. Then you have this. It's almost like half an nunchaku from Panthro. I've never seen this particular kind of weapon before. I have to do a little more research. If you know what this is from or from what cartoon, let us know in the comments. And the little baby Sword of Omens. Again, Beautiful visuals, beautiful work on the stone. Very cool. And of course, Lion-O himself, which we will dive into momentarily. Let's go into the sub-basement of packaging. So here you have this sort of omens. Then you have a different incarnation of the Sword of Omens. This one has some carvings on it. Again, great work. Impressive detailing on the hilt. Great color separation there. And then one of my favorites, which is one of the reasons why I wanted this, lightning effect Sword of Omens for when Lion-O summons the ThunderCats. Usually shown in the cartoons when he's summoning them, and also when he stands in front of Cat's lair, usually used in a lot of images. You have 6 hands to wield the sword, a couple of different poses, and Snarf, Lion-O's nursemaid with his very creepy face. Look at that. You don't want that staring at you late at night. Very creepy. Also, with full articulation. So Snarf definitely isn't just for show. He does move around. And we have our base. And the typical Mondo stand. And we're going to go to one more floor. We have Lion-O's cape. It's a soft goods cape with wire for plenty of posing possibilities. I'm going to definitely need to iron his cape. And this attaches right to the top of the figure. And last but not least, a map of Third Earth. Looking real old school and nice and faded. All right, so that's everything that's in the box. Let's take a closer look at the figure itself. All right, so we got Lion-O out of the box with all of his accessories on full display. As you can see, we have him at rest for the most part with the claw shield, the swords, and all of his accessories. Obviously, Mondo spared no expense. And when you're paying over $250, I think it's $245 for the time release and $225 for the base model, which obviously will not have all of this cool stuff, then you know what you're in for. But much like He-Man, Skeletor, and some of the other 1/12 scale figures, Mondo really did not spare any expense. And you essentially get 2 figures for this price because you're getting Snarf as well. And Snarf has some articulation, which is pretty cool. I would have liked some tail articulation, mainly because in a lot of the ThunderCats cartoons, he would sit on his tail. At minimum, you could have given him maybe a second tail, which would have been cool just to kind of sit him on it. Instead, you're stuck with a very creepy looking face, which we've joked about to no end. But the star of the show is Lion-O, Lord of the ThunderCats. Right now, he has the sight beyond sight head. And the only thing that I wish they would have done, noticing all the different swords that are included, is that the only sword that is showing sight beyond sight is the small one. That's my only small gripe. Again, nothing too crazy, but a lot of times when you display a Lion-O figure, you are displaying him holding the sword, going and doing sight beyond sight. But in this case, we're going to display him a little differently. So let's pop it. Lion-O's head off, which comes off fairly easy. And we're going to get a good old-fashioned, get the yelling head. Let's get this sword with the lightning in place. Now, one of the things we've talked about in other reviews is the stiffness of the hands, which not overly terrible here, but I would recommend, if you can, to get a, let's not do that, I think the better way to do this might be to take the hand off, unflex the fingers, and then attach the hand. And now you can get him, and it stay. Maybe the joints are too loose for that, or the sword is too heavy. The hand is too loose. There we go. All right, so after a little bit of jerry-rigging, we got the hand displayed with the powered up Sword of Omens, essentially summoning the ThunderCats. Couple of things, as I mentioned, you might want to heat the hand up, and you're definitely going to want to play with the articulation a bit because this is very top heavy, so it's not going to perfectly stay in place. Let's swap it out. Lionel's going to punch Snarf for not listening and sneaking into Chitara's tub. Let's hang the claw shield, which you'll see there's a hook. You can even go a step further and put the small Sword of Omens inside the claw shield, which is a nice touch. One of the things that I've talked about in previous Mondo figure reviews is the tightness of the joints. In this case with Lion-O, there's not a lot of tight joints, but there are definitely quite a few. So take the figure out, move them around, get all the joints loose. You know, there's articulation there at the shoulder joint. So take a moment, get those loose, because as you can see, very, very stiff. But even without the stand, Lion-O can be perfectly at home on any shelf. We talked about soft goods cape. Let's swap it out and throw it on and turn him into King Lion-O. All right, Lion-O, you're getting a promotion. Manager of the litter box. So as you can see, these straps come right off. Put those to the side. And let's throw on his cape. And it's just a simple matter of lining up the holes on the shoulder pads. Here we have Lion-O in full coronation gear. His cape is definitely going to need an iron because it is very wrinkly, but very, very cool if you want to display him this way. You can also have him holding the Book of Omens, or more importantly, Snarf, fully excited that Lion-O got a promotion. Snarf, Snarf. Let's swap it out, put the feral head on, which we've seen Lion-O drawn like this in a couple of different pieces of artwork. Not a design I personally am a fan of. I'm more into the humanoid design, mainly because that's what I remember from the cartoons. But there have been instances in some of the comics and even some of the other art pieces that I've seen where the ThunderCats look more feline in appearance instead of their usual humanoid look. Are you going to display them with it? Maybe if you're into that more feline appearance, but you get the core ones first and foremost, which I'm very excited about. And this, which I still don't know what this is from, but I like the fact that it has like a real chain. Again, Mondo sparing no expense when you're paying almost $300 for a statue like this. All right, I'm going to leave Lion-O in his cool coronation garb with all of his accessories. You're probably wondering, how can I add this Lion-O to my collection? I'm afraid I've got some bad news, and that is that the initial timed release of Lion-O sold out in record time. Mondo decided to release non-timed edition, which had just a few accessories, no Snarf, and that one, as of this video, might still be available, but they did re-release a timed edition, which is what this one is. But the one caveat that I want to let people know if you order the timed re-release is that the box is not numbered. I know some folks are very, very big on that, either from a collector standpoint or for other means down the road, but the boxes are not numbered. They actually say timed edition variant. So be aware of that. If you manage to score a restock, you are not getting numbered outer packaging, just a plain old box describing the figure, and it is not numbered. One other thing I do want to say, and this is not a slight to Mondo because they do an awesome job, but they really should ship the figures in an extra box. And the reason is because it's a label on the Mondo box with the figure inside. No protection, no nothing. And usually the outer box gets damaged quite heavily. I've been fortunate with the last 5 Mondo purchases that I've done that the inner box has not been damaged in any way, but just something that I want to be wary of, and I want people to be wary of when it comes to Mondo figures, that they definitely don't give you any sort of a double box. They slap the sticker on it and send it on its way. But minus my little gripe about the packaging and the weird feral face and Snarf's dead eyes, this is an amazing figure. As a ThunderCats fan, I'm so glad that I got to pick it up. He will join He-Man and Skeletor and the recently announced Mum-Ra that is also going to be getting a timed release as well. Links for this figure will be in the notes for this video. You might be able to grab the non-timed edition at a specialty shop near you, or from some of the usual suspects, including Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth, may have the base figure as well. Thanks for checking out this unboxing and review of Mondo's Lion-O, Lord of the ThunderCats, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.